Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So we're just a few days away from babies. So I have been preparing the lambing shed for all the new babies to come in just a few days time. So I have been laying out clean sheets, cleaning out water buckets, putting up hay nets, and just making sure everything is all ready for mums and babies to come here, that everything is nice and clean. It will be nice and warm and cozy for them to stay in here. So the first 24 to 48 hours after the babies are born, I will bring mums and babies inside the lambing shed where I do have jugs, and they will stay in the jugs for the 24 to 48 hours. I find it works really well to have the lambing jugs. You can toss the mom and her babies in there, and it really is a good time for them to bond and to monitor them really closely if the babies need some extra help, whether that be that they need heat or they need some sort of antibiotics, or mom might need antibiotics, or tiny little things like that that might come up. It's really good if they're in the jug because you can monitor them and they're in a nice spot that they're alone, and mom can really figure out what she needs to do with her babies. Babies can learn to nurse, and you can just really watch all of that stuff. So I really recommend the lambing jugs, and I'm really glad that we ended up going the route of doing lambing jugs when we got into sheep. It's definitely the way to go. So on average, my jugs are about 5x4. I know lots of people do like 5x5, but I find 5x4 is really good. You can fit the mom in there, and you can fit her 2 lambs in there. Usually they have 2 lambs. Also, if they have 1 lamb, that's totally fine, but the 2 lambs with mom, they fit really nicely in one of those jugs. And then also in those jugs, I will add in a hay net, so then they can hang up and then the hay is not on the ground. And then I will also add in a water bucket, have it hung up on little hooks, so then if the moms decide they want to push up on the buckets, then they won't fall, and then won't fall on the babies, and babies won't drown in it and all that stuff. And then I also have little tiny little grain dishes that I will bring in when I feed the moms grain, but I don't keep them in there 24/7 unlike the hay and the water. So when we were preparing for babies last year was the year that I had many babies compared to my other years, so I wanted to make sure that I would have everything that I needed all set up. So these are where the girls are right now. They're winter pen and they're in here full time, so I wanted to have a spot that would be easy for me to walk the moms and their babies in there and not have to go through a bunch of different pens. So we came up with this great idea that we would put a gate that separates from the pen into where they come to the shed, because this is where I have all the jugs. I can open the gate when I need to bring in moms and babies, slide them in, close the gate, and it's really easy and works well. So yeah, they can walk down that sort of almost tiny little alleyway, and then I've got this middle panel here. Then they have a panel that separates as the babies sometimes can get through that gate. You can bring the moms in through here, and then you can run up into the shed. Here is my fancy lambing shed. This was an old grain bin I would have used way back then, and now we have transformed it into a shed for my girls and their babies. When we first made this into a spot to fit the jugs, we did only have 3 at the back, but of course when I lambed out 28, I was like 3 is not going to be enough. So me and my dad added in more jugs last year, and now there is a total of 7 jugs. So on average, when I had my 28, I had an average of 1 or 2 every day that would lamb. So this is really good, as I would have mums and babies still in the jugs, and then I would have extra jugs that I could toss in the new mums and babies that were just born then the following day. So I have a design that I've got 3 jugs on this side, on the right side, 3 jugs on this side. We still need to put up a gate for this one. The girls knocked it down, but I'm not in urgent need of it. Just in case, I also got a gate put in here, just in case I need to use this jug. If for what reason I do have another baby born and I need another jug, a 7th jug, but I haven't used it yet, but it is there just in case I need it. When you first walk in, I got it that I have the straw in here. The straw is not always in here, but just because I have such a small amount of girls due in April, I'll put the square hay bales in here as well as the straw. This is just a really nice spot. I can store everything in here and then just grab a few flakes and prop them into the lambing jugs. Got it set up in each jug that we've got water bucket holders. I just got these from PB Mart and I seriously love them. I wish I would have gotten more, but they're really nice because I've got all flat back buckets that I put in here for the girls, and it butts up against the board. But then also if the girls decide they want to lift up the buckets, then it just hits this and it doesn't fall off, so then the babies don't drown in the water or it falls and freezes and all that stuff. And then hanging up in each jug, I also have added in a hay net. I have fed a few times on the ground, but I find that when they're in the jug for a few days, the hay stacks up a lot, and then it gets really gross. On each one, they got little hooks, and I did have clips last year, but I have no idea where my clips went, so I'm just using a little makeshift. You can use whatever you have lying around, but that's what I got. Usually we do have clips, and my clips are just like these ones. You can just get them from any feed store or like hardware store. I also have an extension cord that runs into here. I usually just use it for the lights, so then the moms can see their babies at night. And then I can also see them if I come in here during the middle of the night to check on them. But I also have it just in case I need to plug in heat lamps or the Cozy Coop heater if it does happen to get cold. Usually I don't need it, but I do have it just in case. Another thing is that I have this door on here. Usually it does stay screwed and like open, but if it does happen to get cold, which it did get pretty cold last year, I was able to just close it and latch it, and then the girls could stay nice and warm in there, and then most of the cold air wouldn't escape. The shed isn't insulated. It gets pretty chilly in here if it does happen to be cold, but there's enough body heat in here that if I close the door, most of the heat does stay in. So it's very nice that I do have that door, because then it gives me the option to close it if need be. And then this is my little maternity pen for the girls. Sometimes we'll put them in this pen right after they've had their babies and they came out of the jug, just so then the babies can figure life out outside of the jugs. They get a nice area to roam around. We got their little water bucket. It is a heated water bucket, so if it does happen to get cold, I can plug it in. I can also run it off the same extension cord that goes into the shed. And they just have a hay feeder that I've got hung on the fence. This is really good size for like 3 or 4 ewes in here. So it's really nice because that's about the amount that I have in here. So they just got their hay and their water bucket. And then I have their little grain dish over there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them below, and I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.